we're going to go ahead and get started because we have a great group on here today. So for the next 2 to 3 minutes, I would like for everybody to do what we call neighborhood roll call. So shout out your neighborhood in the chat box. And for the people who are on, if everybody could just say what neighborhood they're from. So I'm Ashia and I am from Sandtown. Go ahead, April. You look like you want to
Elder C.W. Harris.
Go ahead, Elder Harris.
Elder C.W. Harris. Harris, Sandtown.
All right.
Okay. April Patterson, Bel Air Edison.
All right. Brother Tommy, tell us where you from.
This is Tommy Phillips. I am actually from Council President Brandon Scott's office, but I'm actually from East Baltimore.
All right.
All right.
Cedar Avenue.
All right. Shelly.
Marble Hill.
All right. Which is Upton, right? Is that the same kind of?
No, it's not the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I know some people consider that the same neighborhood.
It's a part of Upton. Upton is actually several neighborhoods. I think 7 smaller neighborhoods, but Marble Hill is its own little neighborhood within Upton, within the Upton footprint.
I love it. So going into the chat, we have Union Square, Howard Park, Harlem Park. We have Bolton Hill, Rez Hill, Mount Olivet, Madison Park, Marble Hill again. So we have quite a few people in neighborhoods that are represented today. Harlem Park, Miss Antoinette, shout out to you. Also shout out to Mr. Larry Nunley from BPW, always a big support. So towards the end, hopefully if we have some time, we can just bring Mr. Nunley up and maybe can tell us a little bit about what's going on with trash collection and recycling. So if, just put in the chat, Mr. Nunley, whenever you're ready. And if I have a second, I'll just bring you up. So we are at 6:10. We're going to go ahead and get started. So we will start with, it was supposed to be Communities United. Is Tia on? While we're waiting for Tia, we can go with April. We can't hear you, muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nabia, do you have the PowerPoint?
Yeah, Sasha has it.
Sasha has it, okay.
I think you can also share your screen.
I can share my screen?
Okay,
let me try to share my screen.
While we're working out this tech, staff at No Boundaries, if you could put your name in front of No Boundaries so everybody will know, because all of us have No Boundaries Coalition right now.
Yeah, it won't allow me to share my screen.
1 second, Sasha's working on it.
Okay. Good.
She'll either upgrade you to share or either she'll just put it up because she has it as well. So 1 second.
All right, so we'll just let Shelly go while we're working out the tech stuff. So Shelly can go and tell us about her organization.
Yeah, I don't have a PowerPoint because it would take me a week to put like a few slides together, but we're getting an intern, so hopefully next time. So I'm Shelley Halstead, and I'm the founder and executive director of Black Women Build Baltimore. And we are a home ownership and wealth building initiative that trains Black women in carpentry, electrical, and plumbing. And we do that by restoring vacant and deteriorated houses in West Baltimore. Right now, our project is so named the Edding Street Project because we are working on Edding Street, E-T-T-I-N-G, but I don't hit that T like I should. So that's in Druid Heights. And, so we're hoping to work finish those houses on the block that we can get. We finished one earlier this year, and we're working on 3 right now with 3 participants, and they're slated to be finished and sold to the participants around November. I'm hoping around the end of November, 1st of December, that all 3 will be done. That's our goal. We are acquiring more houses on the block, and ideally we'll get those stabilized this fall, although it's almost already fall. But as soon as we get the LDA from the city, we would do a construction right of entry, which means we would basically, we don't own the houses yet, but we would want to start construction and basically sign away all of our rights and while we wait for the houses to close for us to purchase them. So there are a couple houses on the other side. Our goal is to complete 10 houses on the block that are either vacant or owned but unattended to for a couple decades. So that's what we're hoping. We're also hoping to just look a little bit into the future and into the blocks and acquire more houses for home ownership. Knowing that we're getting a few more on Edding Street, we still need to look, I would say 3 to 8 houses out in order to streamline our process of finding participants, knowing, where we're going to be working and then what kind of budget we're working with. We are a new organization in Baltimore, and I don't know, we're just really, honestly, we're just trying to do some home ownership in the area and, stabilize some of those houses that have been, I would say not well taken care of. We're also hoping to acquire some vacant lots that are on Edding Street. And on that, we would like to put like a community space, tool storage for garden, a small lending library for people in the neighborhood. Ideally, what happens is that through working on the houses, the women are gaining some skills that we can actually help share with the neighborhood. So if somebody needed a toilet replaced, or you needed, help changing out a light fixture or something like that, the idea is actually to create, how do you qualify for purchasing homes? So anyway, so it's all about community, period. So then, how do you qualify for purchasing a home? You are the participant, and so they actually have to get a traditional mortgage. So the person would have to have a fairly decent work history, which basically means 2 years of work history. We don't have the money to service our own loans. Maybe someday, if we have a few $1 million in our coffers, we could do that. So that maybe the work history and the credit score and those types of things that are traditionally what people need, and also down payment in order to buy the home, that we can actually look at the participant, look at the participant holistically instead of just numbers, but right now that's how we do it. We set them up with a couple different lenders from the very beginning in order to understand where they're at financially and how long this might take them to either raise a credit score, save the money, what type of loan they can get. The houses so far have been vacant to value houses, and so those were slated to be demolished along with all the other houses on Edding Street, and we were able to stave off the demolition and actually rehab these. So the difference, at least for these houses, the difference in the cost of the house to rehab it versus what we sell it for is around $30,000. So we rehab the home, we sell it for around $80,000. The cost is actually around $110,000. And that $30,000 is basically the cost of the stabilization, right? So it's the cost to, I mean, those are shells, right? So the roof has fallen into the basement. So cleaning those out, getting those stabilized, new roof, interior framing, that's about the cost difference in order before we can go in and do what we do. So that's basically the grants I write are for that difference, because once the participant buys the house, that money then goes back into our program in order to continue rehabbing houses. So that's kind of what we're doing.
So there was a question, Shelley, how would one get connected, or how would they find the listing for one of your homes?
So we don't sell them to the public. We sell them to the participant that works on the house.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to get involved or be a participant, our website, there's an application that you fill out. Please fill it out fully. We can't read between the lines. So if you do fill it out, please fill it out fully. We have a rubric by which we score people, and that's through the answers that are given. We then reach out and talk to the person, the applicant, and see where they're at. And then, you know, the board and the advisory board, then we have interviews, and then we choose the applicant who now is a candidate. Something that we do is we actually pay a stipend. We believe that Black women's lives are valuable and our time is valuable. So I personally don't like to use the term sweat equity. For me, I'm like, we're valuable. We have more to give than just our sweat, than just toiling in order to get the things we want. So we pay a stipend. This year it's $12.50 an hour. And that money can be used to pay down debt, if you have debt, because that's important because we're building wealth and trying to help people understand how to keep that asset, right? So you can pay down debt with it. You can use it for living expenses, or you can save it in order for the down payment if you don't have the down payment.
Thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks, Shelley. And can you put your email and everything in the chat?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll make sure that we share that out in a recap email as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
So April, is everything ready with your PowerPoint?
Let me see. It's still not allowing me to screen share. So
I thought someone else was gonna do it on the screen.
I'm
why-
putting it up right now.
Okay.
Okay. So let me move forward just for the sake of time.
Thank you.
Okay, great. Okay. So my name is April Patterson. I am the Community Outreach Coordinator for Civic Works. And just want to talk to you briefly tonight about our energy programs that we are now facilitating at Civic Works. So the first program that I want to talk to you about is called our Project Lightbulb, which is the next slide. And basically these are quick installs that we give to all Baltimore City residents. You can either live in a home or you can live in an apartment, it doesn't matter. And all these items are free. So we give you bathroom and kitchen sink aerators, which allows you to waste less water by using these items. We give you 14 LED light bulbs, which are definitely a cost savings item as well. If you live in a house, we come and wrap your pipes. And we also provide you with new handheld shower heads as well for all the bathrooms in your home. And again, these items are free for all Baltimore City residents. You don't have to meet any income requirements. Your name does not have to be on the utility bill. Again, for homeowners as well as renters, for houses as well as apartments. Next slide. Okay, and the next step after you get the quick installs, if you're interested, you can get a free energy audit as well. Next slide. And basically, this is an opportunity for you to get weatherization for your home as well. As you can see from this diagram, it basically shows where the common area air leaks are in your home, and we provide air sealing and insulation so that your house can be comfortable, warm in the winter, cool in the summer. Just to give you an example, if you've ever seen a spider web in your home at anytime, that is where you might have an air leak, because spiders make their webs where bugs come in. So these are things that we do through our energy audit. We use a blower door test to find out where the air leaks are in your home and seal those air leaks up. And also it helps you save money on your utility bills as well. Next slide. And here are some of the benefits of getting weatherization. As I said before, makes your house more comfortable. There are fewer drafts. Helps to eliminate unhealthy pollutants getting into your home. If you have someone in your home that has respiratory issues, this could be a factor in needing to get your home weatherized. Lowers your utility bills 15 to 20%, and then also helps you save the environment. Next slide. Now, if you're interested in free weatherization, here is the breakdown of household size and income. So if you make, if the household income is less than these amounts shown here, then you would qualify for free weatherization. And when I say household size, I mean everyone living in the household, not just the folks who are employed. So if you are a single mother and you're taking care of an elderly parent and you also have 2 children, that would qualify as a household of 4, and the income requirement would be less than $75,500 per year. Next slide. Okay. Here is my contact information. I can be reached at April Patterson at civicworks.com, and that this is also my direct phone number. I know that we have the chat box open. If anyone that's participating in the webinar this evening wants me to reach out to them, just put it in the chat, put your name and your email address and phone number, or just your name and your email address, and I can definitely follow up with you. Again, the quick installs are free if you live in Baltimore City. We do have grant monies that we do want to spend before the end of the year. So I'm just encouraging anyone that might be interested in the program to definitely reach out to me so that I can definitely get you signed up for services. We have been implementing, CDC guidelines and protocols. You'll never have more than 2 people in your home at one time. We will be doing temperature checks. We won't be touching any furniture in the home. And also we would definitely, again, have on, PPE equipment and things like that. So we're definitely following guidelines that the CDC has put out to make sure that everyone is safe. So yes, just reach out to me in the chat or email me directly, and we can definitely get you on the schedule, at least to get signed up for our free services, our quick installs. Thanks.
There's one question in the chat.
It is, okay.
Yeah, Miss Shelley, it's from Eric Steven Stevenson, he says, does your program include roofing?
We can refer you to a roofing agency. We don't do roofing at this time. Basically, all we're doing is weatherization and the quick installs at this time.
Awesome, thanks. And
All right.
looks like Miss Wanda put her email in there. So you got some folks putting their email in there for you. So
Okay, great.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, April.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. If anyone from Communities United is on the call, if you could just raise your hand with the little icon or put it in the chat that you're on so I can see you, I'll call you up. But I'm gonna move on because City Council President Scott should be on in the next 15 minutes or so. So I'm gonna move on to
We have
staff
one more
up.
question for
Uh-huh.
April.
Yes.
Yes.
Does it apply to public housing or only market housing?
If you pay your own utility bill, then we'd be able to do it. If you don't pay your own utility bill, then we wouldn't be able to do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we're gonna move into our staff updates and any announcements that the program managers have. So just in our little agenda, we had Ian, Sasha, and then Nabia. So if you all just go in that order, that would be great.
Yeah, so hi everybody. I had a few updates. I just wanted to, let's see if I can share my screen. If I can get these up for you all. So our youth received, our graduating seniors are off to college. But if you missed our update, we're able to raise money to give them laptops. And they just wanted to give you all a thank you for those that were able to contribute. So I wanted to share it. At least I had 2 of them that got it back to me on time. So I did want to share that with you all really quick. And then hopefully I won't take too much time doing this. So, all right, here's a word from ISIS. So.
My name is Isis Carter. I'll be attending Goucher College this fall and majoring in psychology. I would like to thank all the organizations that helped me all pay for my computer so that I can have access to all my assignments for the fall. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. So my name is Isis Carter. I'll be attending Goucher.
That's just one. It was just a quick one. I wanted to just let you all know that they are thinking of everybody that is helping them. Some have a little bit more responsibilities already than others, so they weren't able to join. But so that's just, I wanted to say thank you from our youth and myself. And then also we actually have an open house coming up this Saturday. So if anybody has not seen our flyer, let me see if I can share that really quick. Because if we were in person, I'll be handing y'all these flyers, right? So just you can also, everything, I'll put it in our in the chat. Everything is on our youth run. But so everybody, if you're interested, I can send you the flyer, but everything is on our Instagram page. So I'll put it in the chat as soon as I'm done. But it is MBYO_. It's right there at the bottom. So if you want to follow along with our young people, it is primarily run by our youth leadership team. So you'll be following with updates directly from them. Like I said, this is our open house flyer for this Saturday. I also have a really cool new brochure. So if you're interested in knowing exactly what our youth do, I could send that to you. So if you're interested in getting our interest form, so if you know a young person that's interested in joining MBYO, we have the open house this Saturday, and then we will be meeting with the young people the week of the 21st to just talk to them and get to know them a little bit more. So that is what else. Did I want to show you guys anything else? I didn't. So if you're interested, I will send you the brochure and any information on the youth program, but also to talk about civics. We will be getting back out there this week. So if you're interested in learning how you can if you want to come out and canvas with us, this Saturday we'll be out from 11 to 1. So that's before the open house. And on this Friday, if you're interested in volunteering, we will be at the Underground Railroad Market. And that's the new farmers market. So I hope I'm not taking up too much time. But that's it. I'll leave it there. And if anybody has any questions about the Underground Railroad Market, it is from 8 a.m. to, I would say, about 6 p.m. It's right on Baker and Pennsylvania Avenue. There's a lot of good stuff out there. You can catch me, and I believe Sasha will be out there with me. But definitely come say hi. If you're interested in volunteering, just please reach out. We actually also are going to be supporting Baltimore Votes. 3 Baltimore Votes and League of Women Voters campaign to register voters ahead of the upcoming election. So we will be at the Pratt Library at Penn North also over the next 3 weeks. So if you're interested in learning more about that, please reach out. And yes, definitely will do. But that is the updates from Civics and youth. The last thing, the census is still going out. So if you know anybody who has not filled out their census yet, they have until September 30th. Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure we all were aware of that. But that's all I have. Sorry.
Thank you, Ian. Good evening, everybody. It's good to be with y'all, even in virtual space. Lots of updates for health and food justice as well. It's been a summer. I will be at the Underground Railroad Market with Ian. We've been collaborating on that, so really excited about that new market that's happening in our community. In terms of updates and kind of things to note, if you have been on any of our meetings over the spring or summer, you know that we started a buying club in response to the pandemic, and really as a strategy that will carry us whether there's a crisis happening or not. And so we're now open, ready to launch the we're currently open for membership for the Central West Baltimore Buying Club. And so if you hop over to the No Boundaries website, the information is there, as well as we just put up some posts on all of the Facebook and Instagram and even Twitter on No Boundaries to find that link. And there is a membership fee. It's $75. It can be paid monthly for $6.99 per month. Excuse me. And what that gets you is free delivery. It gets you discounts on the produce, and it gets you discounts to events that we're having, like the Sip and Saute, which we'll be bringing back in the fall, as well as a community of people who are committed to community ownership, to community power with respect to our food, where it comes from, as well as supporting our local businesses and entrepreneurs in Baltimore. So that project is really focused on keeping our dollars circulating in our neighborhood as much as possible, and throughout the city and kind of our surrounding counties. And we buy local, we buy Black, we buy on sustainable what am I trying to say? Sorry, y'all. We've been in the office all day. We went back to the office today, friends. And so I'm a little bit struggling. It's the end of the day. But sustainable practices is what I'm attempting to say. So if you're interested in that, thank you, Nabia, for dropping the link. There is a link to sign up. Also, if you live in the neighborhood, you may or may not have seen us out doing lit drops. So we have been canvassing in some of our local communities. McCullough Homes is one, Gilmore Homes is next, as well as Pedestal Gardens. And so if you're interested in doing any of that canvassing work as well, we have been going out on Tuesdays at 5, and you can follow up with me via email for our next date and time. And then the last update that I'd like to share is we are currently open for our internship. And so we have reconfigured the internship. We have a workforce development program that centers on teaching food safety, but food handling, food preparation, some life skills, but all under the lens of entrepreneurship, as well as operations in a market setting and just other food businesses. So it's an internship that prepares you to work in food, but also you learn, our interns learn just the operations process, which is transferable to really any operations that you may have, just understanding what are the inputs, what are the outputs, how do we take our ideas and actually turn them into reality. And we use the stall, the Fresh at the Avenue stall that we have to teach that. And so this year we just, we're hiring a kitchen manager who will work hands-on with the young people, and that is for youth ages 18 to 24 or emerging adults, depending on how you look at it. And we are doing 2 info sessions. One will be on Friday, September 18th from 1 to 2:30 p.m. And the other will be on Tuesday, September 22nd from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And so if you're interested in that, you can shoot me an email. I will drop my email into the chat. If you have young people that are interested, or if you are an adult that knows something about workforce development, or have some places where we can potentially place our interns after they finish with us, they'll be with us for 6 months. I would love to hear from you. Definitely drop me an email, and I will drop my email into the chat. It's sasha@noboundariescoalition.com. And I may be missing something. I guess the final thing is we're back in person at the Underground Railroad Market, but we'll be back inside the Avenue Market soon. And so very soon, folks will be able to shop with us and spend time with us physically at the Avenue Market, as well as virtually with the Buying Club. And that's it. That's all, I think. Thank y'all. Navia.
Hello, everybody. I do not have a lot of announcements or updates. I just want to make sure people know that the best email to reach us, generally speaking, if you're not reaching out to a person directly, is to email us at info@noboundariescoalition.com, which I will include in the chat. So currently, we are on a hybrid schedule at our office. So we are in the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you want to reach us in between those dates, definitely send us an email at info@noboundariescoalition.com. And that is about it for me. Thank you, everybody who is on the Zoom call. We know it's sometimes redundant to put in that contact information, but it really helps us to make sure we have all of your information up to date so that we can keep you posted on our upcoming events. We really don't send a whole lot of correspondence out. We tend to send out newsletters about every 2 weeks. So bear with us, but it really helps us to be able to keep track of you, and to be able to make sure everything is up to date so that you don't miss any of the exciting things that we are doing. So thank you, everybody who is here in person on the Zoom call. We do appreciate you taking the time to register and let us know that you were planning to join. So I hope that you have a great, that you get something out of this call today. I hope that it's been beneficial. It's been a lot of good information already, and there's still a lot more to come. That is all I have.
Thank you, staff. So I do want to introduce, we have 2 new staff members. We have 2 interns. Megan, if you can hear me, you can turn on your video. Please do so to say hello. But Megan Powell Rivers has joined our staff. She'll be working with us for the next year. So you may see Megan. She's going to do a lot of our community outreach and communication type things in the community, as well as helping out with programming. We have another intern, Andrew Robinson. He will do communications, and when I say communications, more like social media, emails, those kind of things, and some program support. So we are happy to have them both on staff. And like I said, you will see them around the neighborhood. So we have a few minutes, and Tommy, you can pop in whenever when you think that Council President Brandon Scott is going to log on. So I'm just going to push the agenda a little bit. I brought Mr. Nunley up. We have a few minutes. So if you give us a quick update about what's going on in DPW, and if there's anything that we can do on our behalf to help with some of the trash issues that we've been having around the city.
Okay, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. First of all, on our trash, all your trash is being done as usual, meaning that the dates that you have for picking up trash are the same. Recycling is being halted. It will be you will be able to drop that off at sites into dumpsters. There's a listing of all of the sites that was sent out as a release. Also sent it out. But what I'd like you to do, I'm going to put my email address on the chat. And if you have not gotten the list, so you know where you are to turn around and take these your recycling to, then I will certainly send you that email with a list of all the facts and questions and answers, and you can communicate with me in the future on everything, and I'll keep you informed.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Thank you. And we appreciate your support of No Boundaries and our communities. If you have any specific questions or any concerns, if you can email us or report that concern to 311 and then let us know as well. And we'll be sure to reach out to Mr. Nunley if we think he can help us. And some of our city council people. So speaking of city council people, shout out to Councilman Bullock and Costello. They are on the line, but they are as attendees, so we cannot see them. I really appreciate you all getting on and supporting us this evening. So let's just get to it. So I am really excited. I think this is probably the first time since I've even been involved with No Boundaries that we have all of, also at least representation from every community that we partner with, except for one today. So what we wanted to do was bring all the community leaders on just to introduce themselves, give Mr. Scott an idea of the communities that are involved in No Boundaries Coalition, and to either give a comment, question, concern as we move forward to November. So I'm not going to say what's going to be in November, but we're going to move forward into November. We probably can assume what's going to happen in November. And in December is the swearing in ceremony. So we are happy to have Mr. Phillips and Mr. Scott. So I'll just turn it over to the leaders. We can do the intros, and then as soon as Mr. Scott gets on, we can jump into it. So I'll start with Elder Harris. And if everybody could do like a 30-second, because we really don't have a long time. I don't know how long it's going to take for Council President to log in. But if everybody could just take a 30-second, 40-second to introduce themselves and what neighborhoods you represent, I would love that. So Elder Harris. Oh, you're muted.
Harris, I'm representing Sandtown, Winchester.
Thank you, Elder Harris. I'm gonna move on to Miss Wanda Best.
Good evening, Wanda Best, Executive Director of the Upton Planning Committee. We're also the management entity for Pennsylvania Avenue Main Street. And I wanted to tell you that in the design for distancing, we're putting stalls out in the parking lot on the side of the subway. So you're able to use that if you'd like.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
That's
All right.
awesome, Miss Wanda.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, so Miss Brenda.
Hi, I'm representing Madison Park. I'm a lifelong resident of this neighborhood. So happy to be here this evening.
Thank you, Miss Brenda. Let's see. Suzanne, can you come on the screen? There you go.
Everybody, I'm Suzanne Rockel. I'm currently one of the co-chairs of Reservoir Hill Improvement Council. So I'm here representing Reservoir Hill, and we are ongoing partners and very pleased to support No Boundaries and some of the other partners that I see on here in surrounding neighborhoods.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to move over to David Nawada.
Hi there. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
David Nawida, currently serve as the president of the Bolton Hill Community Association.
All right, thank you, David, for joining us. And then I'm gonna move over to Azalee.
Good evening, everyone. It's Azalee Fisher from Druid Heights. I just wanted to bring your guys' attention to the demolition that happened on Druid Hill. And it's been a long time coming, but we finally got there. So it's my pleasure to be a part of this partnership.
Great, thank you so much. I think we have everyone on here except for Penn North. So if you are on the call and you are a leader in the Penn North community, please raise your hand, you know, like the little raise your hand sign, raise your hand or put it in the chat and we will come in. Ms. Inez, you're gonna speak for Penn North? Let me see. Okay, Ms. Inez, we should be able to hear you. Ms. Inez? Okay, I saw her put her hand up.
Okay.
Oh, there, okay.
Inez Robb, Western District Community Relations Council President and the Fulton Community Association. And so just want to say hi. Finally, I had an evening that I could join you guys to be a part of it because I do so many things, but I just want to say this has been an excellent meeting. I like it. This is good. Well, and really informative. So that's the good part. And by the way, I am a, for Civic Works, I'm a captain, energy
captain.
I've been
All
an
right.
captain
I thought I recognized your
years.
name, Miss Rob. All right. Thank you. I appreciate all you've done.
So, right. And then all that good stuff, it's really, really good. And it does bring down your energy bills. So you might want to talk to your friends and neighbors and your associations because it's really good. Elder Harris, I think some of the young ladies that were a part of Martha's Place, we've gone over there years ago and did some installation. And I think it's really good.
Yes,
I just
did.
thought I'd let you know because I use it in my house each and every day. All the good stuff that they have. So it's really good. And I'll leave you alone now. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you for that plug, Miss Rob. I appreciate you.
Tommy, can we get a time check?
Sure.
Oh.
He's there. Tommy, can we get a time check? You can put it in the chat if you need to. I'm going to push a little bit so we're not stagnant. So I'm going to bring up Mark Carter to talk about his project over at New Song Academy. You there, Mark, or do you need me to go to Nick?
Nope, coming. I just wanted to, yep, here I come.
All righty.
Hold on 1 second, let me get in some light. Good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Carter. the Executive Director of New Song Community Learning Center, which includes New Song Academy. Thanks for hosting this meeting. Thanks for inviting us. And close to a 30-year-long history in Sandtown. One of the elders who helped to create the foundation for New Song is actually a part of this conversation this evening, Elder Harris. And so we want to recognize those roots. And we also want to tell you what's happened over the last couple of years. We have been very busy. You know that Elder Harris is a part of a brain trust that helped to launch New Song with Susan Tibbles and a host of other people. And from that point forward, we've had a couple of other significant leaders helping to move New Song forward. Over the last couple of years, the board took the exciting step to do a couple of things. And I am really excited to share those with you this evening. It's a part of the foundational work that we've been doing to move New Song along and to put it into a great position to serve as many young people and families with traditionally robust educational program and a host of other services as we put them together. So over the last couple of years, we have moved from, we acquired a charter. We were awarded a pretty significant grant, just under $1 million from MSDE, to help us to plan the next chapter or book of our development. And then recently, we've been pursuing 107, formerly known as Gilmore. Those three pieces represent some significant forward progress for the organization, which is anchored in social justice, equity, inclusion, and quite frankly, a serious discussion about race and academics and educational attainment for our students. We're also engaged in that conversation with our parents about what they need for their children. As many of you might know, New Song is very much an intergenerational school. Some of our parents now were students at New Song years ago. That's part of the legacy of the school. That's part of the commitment that the school has to families in the neighborhood. We've had a robust series of services surrounding New Song in the past, and we are rethinking that into the future. One of the reasons that we were invited here this evening is to tell you about what some of those hopes and dreams are as we move into 107, the acquisition of 107. And that involves as many community-based services as humanly possible to support our students and our families. So part of why we are here this evening is to, and I want to recognize that we have board members who are very much committed to all the work that we are doing. We have the president of our board is Vicki Schultz, Ross Pology is our vice president, Nicole Norfolk is responsible for development. And I think some of you already know Emily Mons, she is our secretary. That group represents our executive committee that has been doing the work that I have just outlined in terms of the acquisition of 107, moving us into charter, and then the utilization of the MSDE grant. The reason that we're here this evening is to talk about 107 and to hear your thoughts and feelings about what you want to see happen in that building, out of that institution from New Song. When we think about that building, we think about a community hub. The building that we currently exist in, 1530 Pressman, is not going to go anywhere. We are looking at different ways of utilizing that facility. The academic anchor that we are looking forward to is at 107. It's a much bigger space. Part of the challenge for us at 1530 is we can't grow.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Mark, this is like really good and I don't want to rush you through it. So if you could just take a quick pause because Council President Scott is on and I know he had us on a time constraint.
Okay.
So do you still have until 6:15, Mr. Scott? I mean 7:15, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to just allow the community leaders to talk to Council President Scott. If anyone out there in Facebook land or anyone who is attendee has a question, please put it in the chat. We will do our best to get those questions. And then we're going to come right back to Mark and Nicholas Mitchell from Innovation Works, because both of them have really important things that they want to talk to us about. So, City Council President Brandon Scott, the Democratic nominee for the mayor of Baltimore City. How is that? We're here. So thank you for getting on the call with us. I just want to tell you a little bit. I'm sure you know of No Boundaries, but No Boundaries Coalition is the formal name, and it's a coalition of 7 neighborhoods. It started by 7 community association presidents. So today we have leadership from all 7 of those neighborhoods here on the call today. And I thought it would be, well, we have all except for 1, Penn North, but I thought it would be good just to have a forum for all of us as a coalition, just to say hello, voice any concerns or questions to you so you'll kind of know where we are. And I would just want to say, you know, we No Boundaries Coalition does a lot of work, and we're looking for support from your office. I asked all of our elected officials. I'm not sure if they keep their word on it, but I asked all of our elected officials to get on one of our calls personally, not send a staff member, but personally get on one of our calls at least once a quarter. I know in your current position, that could be tedious. And I also know at a higher level that could be tedious as well, but we're asking that you know, commit and at least find it in your schedule to share with us 15 minutes at least once a quarter, so we can let you know what's going on with us, so we can you know, share in any work that you have going on at City Hall. So that's all that I'm going to say, because I know we're tight on time. I'm going to turn it over to the community leaders, and we're going to start with Elder Harris, who's representing Sandtown today.
Yes, and congratulations again. We met earlier this week, and what I'm going to talk to you about one concern, and of course you heard about others. But gentrification is an issue that's on the hearts of a lot of our community residents. We don't mind gentrification, but we want you to keep in mind the new Black Wall Street. And that's what we desire Sandtown to be, the new Black Wall Street. So our interest is supporting you supporting us, and bringing in those African Americans to our community, so that the job that be done in our community would be through us, by us, for us. And then the community won't look like it had never looked before, and operating by people who don't look like us. So anyway, that's my desire. I know I'm less than 5 minutes, and I want to be that way so that others can say what they have to say.
Thank you, Elder. There's some feedback. Do you want to respond to each leader?
Yep, I was just, is the feedback gone? Okay,
We can
great.
hear you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you again, Elder Harris. As I said the other day, when we spoke, we know that this is an issue that's very near and dear to my heart. As I said, we want to make sure that Baltimore has a renaissance and we can be the comeback city of all comeback cities. But that doesn't mean we have to go the way of DC and other places where the culture of the city and the people that have lived in those neighborhoods that we were suffering, that were ignored, whether it be Sandtown, where you guys are, or Penn North, or many places in West Baltimore, or Park Heights, where I grew up, where we can actually do a redevelopment and reimagining and rebuilding of neighborhoods that does not displace people. Actually, I am coming to you guys from coming over from Johnston Square on the east side, where they are leading the way and showing how we can do redevelopment and bringing Black home ownership, Black people, Black involved businesses into the neighborhood and not have to displace people. So you can always count on me to not just say that with my mouth, but with my action on how the city starts to invest in trying to make sure that we're protecting Black people in our neighborhoods and helping for Black people to grow in the neighborhoods throughout, not just in Sandtown and in the no boundaries neighborhoods, but throughout the city.
Ms.
Thank you.
Wanda.
Good evening, President Scott. How are you? We met, I think it was last week we met to discuss all of the development in Upton and around Pennsylvania Avenue. And just like Elder Harris, one of our concerns is that when the development is done, we're not here. So we put a whole lot in happen for the residents that live in the community and the young African Americans that want to come into the community. We've garnered about $62,000 for each person that wants to buy a house, and that's just coming from us, but there are other resources that they can apply for. So I think last week I kind of burned you out with everything that we're doing, but you know how we're moving in Upton and along Pennsylvania Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Wanda. And thank you for spending that time with me the other day. It wasn't burning me out. It was actually very great. It was last Thursday. It was
Yeah.
very great time for me. And it was good for me to hear about all the great work and then to allow me to talk about how I think the city can help in that work. And like I said to you last week, everything, when folks hear me talk about this racial equity lens, that also means how the city is helping and spending its dollars, like when it comes to home ownership, like we talked about a lot about capital investment, where things are going. That's the kind of work that we have to push. And when we have areas like Pennsylvania Avenue, if we're going to have the Black Arts and Entertainment District there, we have to support it, not just with our mouth, but with our action. If we have the work that you guys are doing that is helping to create and bring back parts of the city that have been ignored for far too long, it's our responsibility to do it. But more importantly, we know that we have to do it because the only way that we're going to erase decades and generations of racial inequity that was created by people that sat in the offices that I'm sit in is through direct policy action from the city to help do the exact opposite. So you have my word on that, as I said to you the other day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Brenda.
Hi, Brandon. I feel like you're one of my children. I am a retired professor at Morgan State University, and my neighbor is Mrs. Laura Bird, who taught you and supported you at Mervo. And so she has encouraged our whole neighborhood to support you. We have signs in every window. So you are my child. I am very happy. I'm representing Madison Park. And recently, we've spent a lot of time on cleaning and greening. So we appreciate the roll-offs you've gotten for our cleanup days. And we have been able to clear all the debris from the tree wells, put in new mulch, with planted flowers and shrubs at the corner park of Medicine and Pressman. And our dream is to have it become a neighborhood-friendly calm park. And calm will stand for our historic residents, Elijah Cummings, Milton Allen, Lena K. Lee, and Perrin Mitchell. Calm. So we want it to be a gathering place rather than a shooting gallery. And we know that you will help us with that. We've gotten some funds already. We're working with the National Urban League renovation for community parks group. So they are helping us do a study. And so we want to upgrade 2 parks in our neighborhood. And we're very much interested in doing what we can to keep our alleys clean. And the last thing that we're doing is we have monthly play groups, intergenerational play groups for the children and the residents in their neighborhood. And so that has been a good gathering place, and our neighborhood definitely supports you. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, Miss Brenda. And if Mrs. Bird says, I'm your child, I'm your child. That's the way it goes for me. She didn't just teach me at Mervo. She actually saved me at Mervo. If it were not for Mrs. Laura Bird, I would not be on this Zoom with you guys tonight. And she can tell you the story later, but I basically had a teacher that was her subordinate that hated my guts and wanted to get me expelled from the school, even though I had 100 in her class. I'll let her tell you the story later.
Okay.
I owe the world to Mrs. Bird. She literally saved my life. But absolutely, I worked at Recreation and Parks. That was the last job I had before I was elected. And trying to support that agency, and not just the ability for them to grow on the recreation side, but also for them to be able to support community parks and community efforts, and also be able to utilize our relationships with private industry and others to help foster these kind of things. And I think that we have it. And when you live in a neighborhood that is a thriving neighborhood, you have the ability for people to gather in places. And we know that we have to do a much better job of maintaining that stuff. We clearly have to do a better job of dealing with how we're dealing with waste in the city. We're going to be having a city council hearing on the 15th about that. I wrote the Department of Public Works a long letter about what's going on with trash and recycling, and we're going to try to get all the answers that we can give so that we can be prepared better in the future as we move to the next term. But we absolutely have to figure out ways to be very creative in helping supporting these small neighborhood parks and making them a vibrant space, clean space for people to gather in their neighborhoods, especially now. When you're talking about COVID-19 and being able to have people be outside in some way, right? And be able to still physically distance away from each other to keep the necessary distance and be safe. But you have to have support from the city and others in doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
David.
Okay. Thank you, Ashia. And thank you also, Council President Scott, for joining us tonight. My name is David Nwida. I live in Bolton Hill. I've been there about a decade. And one of the things I've noticed when any crime occurs in the neighborhood is that the default thought on the part of residents and also the police is to turn to the court system to resolve the crime. And we all know that, especially for youth, entering the court system can lead to ruinous consequences down the road. And so I'm wondering if you can think of ways that instead of thinking first about turning to the court system, residents and police could think first about a restorative justice program, or in the case of juvenile crime, juvenile diversion programs, instead of turning first to the court system.
Yeah, no, David, thank you for that. And I think it's a critical conversation. And folks have often heard me talk a lot about reimagining public safety. And I think that's exactly what we have to talk about. I was the former board chair of Baltimore Community Mediation Center. So I believe wholeheartedly in being able to bring people together to resolve disputes in a different way, in a healing way, and in a way that does not negatively impact people's future. We have had very successful diversion programs in the city. We used to have a great juvenile robbery diversion program that was a collaboration with the city and the state. I don't think I need to go any further, but individuals at the state level aren't really fond of that kind of stuff right now. But we have to be able to bring those kind of things back, because I can talk about my personal experience, right? I was robbed, in 2009, and this is all public information now. And I did not get to face the young man that robbed me. Young man, there was two, but young man that robbed me until last summer. That was the first time I saw him, and that was just because his attorney reached out, his public defendant reached out and said, like, hey, he really would like to meet with you. He has the opportunity to actually come home from prison. And my first response was, hell, he's still in there? This happened 10 years ago. This is unbelievable. I was shocked that he was still in there, right? I was 25 years old when it happened. And at this time, I'm 35. I'm a totally different person. He was 16, right, when this happened. He's now 26. And when I sat down with him, it is actually up in Hagerstown, it's the most fulfilling thing I've done in my life, because we never got to heal, neither one of us, right? He had to carry that burden and even say it later on, like now that they're in prison, he's seeing me on TV and everyone's like basically joking him, saying like, that's who you chose to rob? Something has to be wrong with you, right? And he had to carry that burden for all those years. And I didn't even know, because I had long forgiven him and his counterpart for what they did to me, because all it took was a phone, right? And then I was able to hear the story, what was going on in his life. He was able to hear how it impacted me as a person. And in that 2 hours that we spent together, more healing, more dealing with the issue happened than in the 10 years that the justice system. So I think that we absolutely have to start to reimagine. No, that won't be able to be the case in every case, but we have to figure out different ways of dealing with the problems. And when you're talking about diverting young people away from that system, we know that it works, and it works a lot better than incarcerating them. The data shows that.
Thank you. Can I have 5 more minutes?
Yeah, you're good. I'll let you know when you're
okay. Thank you. So I'll pass it over to Suzanne, and then we can start taking some questions from the attendees.
Thanks, Shia. Hello, President Scott. I'm Suzanne Rockel, and I am the current co-chair of Reservoir Hill Improvement Council, and so we're technically the organization on record for Res Hill with the city. And of course, I have had the opportunity to ask around throughout Res Hill in advance of this conversation. And I want to echo a couple of points that previous community leaders have made, and then make one separate point. Specifically around the concept of community development and revitalization. RHIC subscribes heavily to the fair housing tenets that we believe in preserving the affordable housing that is located in our neighborhood. We do have some affordable housing that is scheduled to sunset in the next few years, and we are concerned about that and the potential displacement, particularly in some of our high rises where we have affordable housing. We're concerned about preserving market rate rental housing in the neighborhood, and then of course preserving home ownership. We like to talk about it as revitalization without gentrification, specifically without displacement. That's the phrase we like to use. One of our concerns is that we're always interested in your perspective on community development at the grassroots and organization level within the communities on the ground. One of the things that we as an organization and a community have noticed in the past maybe 5 to not quite 10 years is a change from the 90s and the aughts, where the city was very interested in partnering with community development and grassroots-based organizations who were working on revitalization, who were bringing ideas from the ground up in more of a true partnership style, to something that's been very top-down since maybe the mid-teens, 14, 15, thereabouts, for the last few years. And we're very much interested in maintaining a collaborative relationship related to revitalization in our neighborhood. And we think that that is a stronger position to be in. So I wanted to hear your comments on that. We also have had a lot of talks about in the community about community budgets and community appropriation level things that happen based on the historic budgets from the year before rather than the current priorities, rather than zero-based budgeting based on the goals or particular community needs. We're interested on that. And the last thing, I would be remiss in saying that we are aware of the progress with Complete Streets. And we are aware of the study that's going to take place on Druid Park Lake Drive. And this is a little bit different from some of the other communities No Boundaries serves, because we in Penn North have that, highway between us and Druid Hill Park. And we have been working and recently had at our community meeting the transportation folks from the city out. We've been working closely with Leon Pinkett's office. However, we are concerned that despite all the studies that are happening and the progress that is intended for Druid Park Lake Drive, that there are going to be deaths on Druid Park Lake Drive for specifically children who are going across to the park prior to us completing all the studies and the important things that have to happen before changes to crosswalks are made. And I was given strict instructions to raise the traffic concern, because we are concerned that while all of us are planning what's going to happen, something's going to happen in the meantime. So those are our questions. Thanks for the opportunity.
No, thank you, Suzanne. And I'll start with the last one first. I actually met with the DOT director, and they don't have to do everything that I say yet, but they will in the near future. And they know that that one is actually personal for me, because a little history for you. So I grew up running track. In the summertime, I ran for Baltimore City's track club, and the distance runners, that's where we practice at the reservoir. So I spent many a day running and dodging cars as I drove back around there in the little narrow part where, my Nikes could end up on someone's windshield in a blink of an eye. So making sure that we be able to break down that barrier for young people and people that in your neighborhood to get to the park, but also keeping everyone safe. They know that that's a priority for me, and we have to figure it out, and that we can't just what you won't get from me is that they'll just study things to death and let's sit them on the shelf and then nothing gets done, right? It's about, okay, you have to cross all your T's and dot all your I's, but you also actually have to do something. We can't continue to just plan. We have to put something in action so that people can see that the city is hearing them, that we're investing in them, and that we're going to operate in a different way. And that leads me into the other things that you spoke about, right? I am not a top-down person. That's just not my nature. I come from the bottom up, and that's the way that I'm going to operate. Because what I would dare say is that we know Baltimore has been a top-down place for a long time, and look where it's gotten us, right? We know that if we allow the same folks to make the same decisions, that we'll be in the same place over and over and over again in everything that we do, every single way the city operates, every function. When you hear me talk about a new way forward, it's really about, we are going to be built in this term coming up. We're going to be building a foundation of basically a new government, because we have a government that's the same way, same structure as it was in 1974. And you will not find a $3 billion entity that's successful, in which Baltimore is a $3 billion entity, that has the same exact structure and operates the same exact way now that it did in 1974. They don't exist. And when you add on top of that, our history of being the birthplace of housing redlining, racial segregation, racial inequity via policy, we know that we have to build a new system where we look at reimagining everything that we do, how we budget, where we spend our money. And that's the tough work that I'm excited to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we have some questions that have come in. Some are really long. So
Yeah, I've been trying to read them. So
well, good. I'm glad. Let's ask a short one. And I also want to shout out Mr. Albert. I believe this is his first time getting on our call. So thank you for joining us today. We're happy to have you. So he has a question about COVID-19 and shelters. Can you give us an update of when shelters will open, or if there's any plan for how we will house our homeless now that we're heading into fall?
I'm actually, I'm smiling because I wish I got this question tomorrow night. I actually have a COVID briefing with the health commissioner tomorrow. So what I will do is I'll get the answer. I'll give it to you so that you can give it to Mr. Albert. That's one of the things that as we move into the cooler months that I'm going to be asking about too. And now that we're going to be going back to time where people just can't be outside, what are the plans that they have in place and how they're going to deal with that?
All right. Then we have one of our staff members had a question. Nabita, you want to ask your question?
Yes. So I'm a new homeowner in the Burleigh-Layton neighborhood. And so we have a street behind our houses where there are garages that were originally connected to the homes, but they're independent properties. So how can homeowners go about acquiring those properties? Because they're nuisance properties, they're owned by people who are deceased, who don't have descendants. How can homeowners purchase them and fix them up so that they're not eyesores in the back of our houses?
Yeah, let's do this. I know that oh, what happened to him? He got kicked off. All right, so what I'm going to do, I will send you put my email and my phone number in the chat so that you can call the office directly. What I'll do is we have to do the research of seeing like who the people are, you already know, and then figuring out working with housing and some other folks to figure out how and what's the best way if you guys can be able to get those properties. Not a day goes by that I don't find some crazy thing that somebody that sits in my seat did like 50, 60 years ago. And I think, well, why in the hell would they do that? Yeah. And allowing people who are not the homeowner to own that. Actually, in my neighborhood where I live in Frankfurt and Northeast, that we found out there behind all these houses, right, there was this big piece of property that turned into a forest that wasn't owned by any of the homeowners, right? There are no alleys in my neighborhood. So there's no way for the people who own the property to actually maintain it. And it ended up being like this big, crazy forest that they had to get some little guys with machetes to literally go and cut it down. That's how bad it was. And that was just somebody's stupid decision. So
we have that forest behind our garages. So once we get the garages, the next thing is to figure out what to do with the forest that is independently owned. It's not owned by the city. It's owned by a person who's a slumlord on his property. So yeah.
Yeah, but I'm sending you the information and then you just reach out to us and then we will follow up with you direct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, we have a question from Miss Dina Fisher from Marble Hill, which is kind of long and I'm gonna try to sum it up. I hope I represent the question correctly. So like myself and many other parents in Baltimore City, she's homeschooling within an open air drug market environment. She is concerned about how the city can effectively address and combat gross racial and class disparities and inequities. And what she said was true. We need the city to be an ally of ours. So we are dealing with blighted properties, open air drug markets, citizen-induced violence, and redlining. So she says the list goes on. So in her neighborhood, just like neighborhoods I'm sure you hear across the city, people are dying from drug overdoses in their backyards, being murdered on their front doorsteps, and being killed in vehicles on their streets. So overall, I think all of Baltimore wants to know, how can we work together, and what are some of your plans that can cut down on some of this violence? Well, a lot of the violence, because we have a lot of violence right now in Baltimore. How we can cut down on violence, and how we can bring vibrancy back to our neighborhoods.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you, Ms. Dina, for this question. I actually peeped at this one a little bit too. So I think, Ms. Dina, what you're talking about has been the plight of our city every year of my 36 years of taking breath. And we know that we've been unable to really have significant change and focus on this. And when you talk about violence in Baltimore, I often talk about it as a cancer, right? What happens when you have cancer and you don't treat it when it's in your lungs? It spreads to the rest of your body. And instead of actually curing ourselves of this violence, we have tried to treat it with one symptom, only thinking that policing was going to solve all the problems, and it's just grown and grown and grown. So what do we have to do? One, we do have to deal with the day-to-day violence, right? We have to understand, while I am always going to let everyone know that we are going to have a complete and comprehensive approach to violence. We're going to have a public health approach to violence, but there is a role for the police department, but their role is not to do any and everything, and their role is not to be the sole responsibility for reducing violence in Baltimore. For them, their responsibility should be and will be in the future having a targeted, focused approach on the small group of people and violent individuals who are committing the violence in our city. We've seen it work slightly here in Baltimore and cities across the country, where that targeted approach, not everybody that looks like me outside should end up in the back of a car like they did when I was growing up. They tried that here, and not only did we ruin a bunch of lives, also crime went up. But targeting the people that are actually doing it. Also, something that they've never done. We've seen it time and time again, where they talk about breaking down this big drug organization or that big drug organization and seizing all these drugs off the ship, but you've never seen them do that with guns, right? And we learned last week, the latest data is that 71% of the weapons that they track back to their origin this year come from outside the city of Baltimore, which, by the way, has no gun stores, right? So we also have to target people who are straw purchasing and gun trafficking, whether that means we have to target people that are in Baltimore County, Howard County, Hartford, or West Virginia, Pennsylvania, Georgia. We will do that. But then we will also do the tough work of breaking down the stuff that you were talking about. Baltimore, again, is the birthplace of legislation to create the segregated city that we live in most segregated cities across the country. So what do we have to do to do that? We have to make that investment. The city has to undo its history of only investing its capital dollars in the rich white neighborhoods and invest it in our Black neighborhoods. We have to figure out how we are going to fully invest in our young people by funding their schools, creating more opportunities for them, investing in small and medium-sized businesses, especially Black-led ones in Baltimore, to help create job wealth and growth. We have to redo everything that we have been doing in order to support the people who need it the most in Baltimore City. And that's what we're going to do. And it's going to be tough work, but I look forward to doing it. And I want to thank all of you for having me here tonight. I absolutely will do once a quarter, and hopefully in the future, it'll no longer be virtual and we can actually be in person, but we will definitely do once a quarter. That is not a tall task for me. I always want to keep my ear to the individuals that are doing the work in the community. And I just want to say thank you all for having me tonight.
Thank you for coming, and we will be in touch. There were a few other questions. One was about, are we going to keep Baltimore Beautiful program? And I'm like, that's a yes, because I know the city just invested more money into that program. About YouthWorks, we're going to be on your back about YouthWorks, especially once COVID is over. We need year-round youth opportunity.
Yeah, and the year-round YouthWorks program, trying to figure that out, is actually in many of my plans. So.
Yep. And then the last one was about red light cameras. I believe it's a disparity about where they're placed. So we'll have to talk to you about red light cameras and how much money the city's getting and where that money is going. I know that's on the minds of some people, but we're gonna let you jump. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tommy. I don't know if Tommy's still here, but thank you all for setting this up, and we will talk to you soon. Thank you. All right, Mark, are you still there?
I am. Hold on one second.
Okay, good. So while Mark's getting his camera together, basically he gave us the great history of New Song Academy, which has been serving kids in the Sandtown, Winchester area for quite some time. They would like to move into a different building, a larger building, to expand some of the good works they're doing in the community. And now Mark is going to talk to us about how we can support that effort, or just give us all of the tools and information about that effort. So if it does come up for questioning in the community, we have everything that we need.
Thank you again for inviting us. So we've had members of the community, such as Cuts, learn about our efforts to expand into 107. And part of that expansion, there are many good points made by Brandon Scott. We're interested not only in the academic, but in the social emotional development of children, and particularly of children in Sandtown, Winchester. As many of you know, 107 is connected with the rec center. And part of what we are interested in, part of what I think what New Song, one of the hallmarks of New Song, is not to be insular, but to figure out different ways in which to reach out to the community, to hear from people directly. What are the things that you want to see and have happen, not only for our students, pre-K through 8, but also for our parents. So we're interested in 107, both because of its physical plant and size. It gives us the opportunity to grow and expand. I think also, given the space of public health and COVID, schools won't be the same as they have been in decades past. There'll be the necessity for children having greater distance and space in classes, children needing space and distance until there's a vaccine, but that's going to be a little bit of time. 107 gives us the opportunity to do that. Also, the physical plant, I was sort of alluding to just a second ago in terms of the rec center, that gives us a chance to collaborate with our partners at Rec and Parks to figure out what are the different ways in which we can serve as many children as humanly possible, both given historical trends, but also, how long should we be open? I think many people would say, oh, rec center is like from after school until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. We're going to push that envelope and figure out, well, what are the needs of the community? How can we serve different age groups, children, tweens, teens, young adults, not just in the rec center itself, but in that entire facility. Those are the things that we are interested in. And right before Brandon Scott, just make this point and then give people a chance to ask any questions. But one of the things that I wanted to say to everybody is that we are not wedded to a sort of consigned list of activities that take place in the building. If someone said to us, because we've actually thought about this out loud, what does a farmer's market, what does a supermarket look like? Can a supermarket on a smaller scale be connected to 107? Let's explore that. What does community health look like on a school-based health center? We're interested in any and all of those things that complement the neighborhood and that, quite frankly, complement the other institutions in the neighborhood. I think, as Elder Harris, as I referred to him earlier, those are the kinds of things that I think are the hallmark of New Song, figuring out ways in which to support people by being really creative and pushing the boundaries, quite frankly, of what that service looks like.
Well, thank you, Mark. So this is, a weird forum because we're on Zoom. So if you have any questions or concerns, please put it in the chat. Also, I put my email in the chat as well. So I've been working with Mark. I've been talking with the staff. Now we're bringing it before the community. We really want to support this initiative. Mark and New Song will go at some point before the city to try to acquire the building. And Mark hates to say it. We can invite him back and he can give some history on the building. But the building that he's referring to is Gilmore Elementary, for those who are not familiar with the numbers that Baltimore City school system uses. So as far as we have considered and talked with, I can have a few more conversations, but we are leaning towards supporting this effort. And what our support looks like is just sending him to City Hall with a letter from No Boundaries Coalition. Right now, we don't have a formal way of voting. We're voting, we're on Zoom and we're away from our office. So I'm inviting everyone, if they have any concerns, to please email me or anyone else on our staff so we can weigh in on that transition. But we really want to support New Song Academy. Like Mark said, now it's intergenerational. There are parents who are sending their kids to the school, and we want to support that effort and make sure that the parents in Sandtown Winchester have all of the options available to them as they decide what schools their children should attend.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
So one of the things I've come to love about this sister is that we've had conversations about what it means to change the way in which people think. One of the reasons I don't call it Gilmore is that if you understand who Harry C. Gilmore was, he was a Confederate soldier, a rapacious man, a man who did horrible things to people who look like us, Black and brown people, and I imagine to white people who were co-conspirators in trying to change the racist policies that had existed at that particular time. He eventually became a police chief in Baltimore. And I understand that at that particular time, when Gilmore Homes was named after him and the school was named after him, we didn't have the kind of consciousness we have now. Some of us did, but many of us did not. Part of our reason for being interested in this particular building is to help everyone in the community to rethink what it means to be Black, to be proud, to be self-actualized. The way in which we do that from pre-K forward with our teaching methodology. One of the things we're going to look at in the expansion towards our charter is expeditionary learning. All of it is on the table in terms of how we rethink, how we love Black children, how we love our Black families and brown families in the neighborhood. That's why we don't call it Gilmore. That's why we refer to it as 107. That's what New Song is about in terms of really pushing people to think differently about education and academic achievement and the social emotional welfare of everyone in the community. But I want to say thank you again for making this opportunity available to us.
Thank you so much. And as Nabia put in the chat, we definitely want to hear from you. We are here to support this initiative, and we want to hear your questions, concerns, and even support. So we put the info at No Boundaries in the chat, and then I also put my personal email in the chat. So we are looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you again, Mark. So we have our last presenter. Thank you all for staying with us this long. We're going to bring up Nick Mitchell from Innovation Works.
Good evening, and thank you for having me today. I'm Nicholas Mitchell from Innovation Works. We are based at Open Works in the Green Mountain West neighborhood. And a little bit about Innovation Works. We are charged with supporting social entrepreneurs within communities and building we are sustainable neighborhood economies. So what that looks like is supporting social entrepreneurs in these neighborhoods. And we do this a couple of different ways. One, we have a mentorship network that anybody that works with us, you have access to that network. So it could be, I need to speak with a lawyer, or I need to speak with an accountant, or I need to speak with a supply chain person. If we don't have that expertise within our network, we will go and find it. Our second pool of resources that we offer is curriculum. So we're gonna educate, make sure that your business is good to go, that you have the nuts and bolts of that down. The way that looks right now is our Boost program, which we're about to have our second cohort in the next couple of weeks, actually. And what that looks like is you attend, we make sure that your business is sound, that you're making good decisions, and that you're going to be a sustainable business. And when I say social entrepreneurs, these are businesses that they're not necessarily, they could be a nonprofit, they could be an LLC, they could be a corporation, but they're not making decisions. The dollar is important, the sustainability is important, but the community is also that's part of the decision making in which the way that you operate your business. So that's what I mean by social entrepreneurship. And then that third level of support that we offer is funds. We do have it's called Ignite Capital. Ignite Capital, a fund that say, I have a project, I need a loan to get this business off the ground. We're going to make sure that, or because you've been working with us, we're going to say yes. We're going to seed that money, the first round of money to you, so that you can go ahead and leverage it with other banks, other organizations within the city. With that said, we support social entrepreneurs everywhere from I have an idea and I want to affect my neighborhood, all the way to I have an established business that I want to grow and scale. So, and you can come into the pipeline at any point. You don't have to start from the beginning. You don't have to, already have an established business. So, that's Innovation Works. Our initiative that we're really working on right now is we're supporting some of the curriculum for the Lexington Market project that's going on right now, making sure that people who want to be involved in it have the resources to do that. So I'll share some information with the Shia. So if you know any folks that cook or want to be involved in that project, please reach out, because we're going to be offering some curriculum to make sure that you're not just jumping into it and not knowing what you're getting into, and making sure that you can be sustainable in the space. With that said, I will drop my email in the chat. Please, if you know anybody that's a social entrepreneur that wants that support, there's no cost to this, and we're here to support, here to help. So I look forward to attending these meetings, answering questions, and seeing how we can really help out.
Thank you, Nick. So with the partnership with Innovation Works, we're really hoping that anybody who comes through our pipeline that may be interested in entrepreneurship can just partner with Innovation Works. We have a leadership academy that Miss Brenda went through the first class of that. We have our youth programs, and now our workforce development programs that serve youth that are older, 18 to 24. We have quite a few initiatives that are going on, and we want to really look through the community to see who maybe had a dream of being an entrepreneur but did not have the support. So we want to partner with Innovation Works in any way to help them meet their goals, and also help our members who are coming through our pipeline meet their goals as well. So check out, we'll have a follow-up email with a lot of information about who was on, what we talked about, and any follow-up things. So we will make sure that everyone can get in touch with Nick. after today. Oh, can you, while we're finishing up, Nick, can you just put your email in the chat, please? Thank you so
Yep,
much.
just dropped.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we're there, guys. So I want to announce our meeting for next month. It's going to be October the 14th at 6 p.m. It'll be Zoom again. And next month, we're going to have an education focus. So we're really going to support our parents, our teachers. We're going to get someone from the teachers union on. Anyone who's in the educational system, we want to uplift their projects, see what they're working on, see how we can help them. And I want to personally thank every parent, teacher, and student that made it through their first day of school today. I know it was not easy for any of us. It's a learning curve, and to be honest with you, some students just do not have the support that they need. So we just want to keep those students in mind. We want to do all that we can do to support our youth and educators here in our community. So we're going to bring them on next month in October to highlight some of their work and see where we can support them. Is there anyone in the No Boundaries staff or panelists that have any last thoughts before we sign off?
Yes, Sister Ashia, and along with Wanda Best, we're going to have an influx of residents in the Upton community just below Pennsylvania Avenue and Lawrence Street. I am deeply concerned that they become organized, an organized community, better than any organized community that's on the top side of this earth. And I think that us had to do early intervention in making sure that we work together to know who our neighbors will be, and that will help us keep down any riffraff and support us immensely. So I feel that this is a great opportunity for us to put our foot on the ground and with our new neighbors generate the energy that we need through their participation. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. I know Elder Harris reached out to me, and we can get on with you, Ms. Wanda. We basically want to be there when they come into our neighborhood. Here goes your welcome basket. This is how you can get in touch with these organizations, and let's get them as soon as they come into our neighborhood so we can really build that strong community. So I'm still in with that, Elder Harris.
I help you. I help you. Just let me know. I'll be there. That is very important. Very important.
I think Councilman Costello is on the line.
He can't speak though, but I think he is on.
Okay. Now, I know he works closely with the community builders, and that's a conversation we need to start happening before people move in.
Yes.
Okay. And Councilman Costello can facilitate that conversation. You know, I'm all with you with putting together our resources so they know where to go. But I think we need to start talking to people before they sign leases for those buildings.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
All right. Well, thank you. I thank everyone, all of our panelists, everyone who popped in to say hello, all the attendees, everybody watching from Facebook. Shout out to you. Thank you. We will send out some information about what we talked about. Make sure you have all the resources that we talked about today. Reach out to us, email us, send us a message on Facebook. And thank you again. Please have a good evening. Good night. See you in October. And if the staff could just stay behind. See ya. Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. Hope to see y'all soon.
See you soon. Thank you.